Let's see if the RX 7900 GRE can deliver a pleasant experience at 1440p resolution in the latest games. To experience all of the games, I'm using the 1440p 165Hz Gigabyte M27Q monitor. If you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, then you can find Amazon links to them in the description below. On a separate note, I would like to ask you to spare a moment of your time to help me with something. This is my second channel, and if we can get it to 1000 subscribers, I can monetize it and reinvest that money into making more awesome content on this channel as well. So if you are enjoying the content I make on this channel, then please take a moment of your time and subscribe to my second channel at the link in the description below. Thank you for your support, and let's get back to our topic. Before we get to the actual performance part of the video, I would like to discuss AMD's FSR resolution upscaling and frame generation features. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to find AMD's frame generation in the latest releases. And when it comes to FSR 3 resolution upscaling, I have to be honest with you, I do not like the image quality of it. I'll give you the worst case example. This is Hellblade 2. It has released just several days ago. And the game itself is brilliant. It is an art piece, unlike anything else you've played. You are either going to love it or hate it. But I digress. Let's get back to the FSR topic. Check this out. When I pan the camera, the entire image just falls apart. The grass and other elements, they're just falling apart. I hope that it is visible in the YouTube video, because with YouTube compression it may be a lot more difficult to spot, but I'm looking at the monitor right now and I can see a lot of artifacts, especially next to characters. It is just not good at all. And even when looking at a static scene like this one, the sizzling is still present. Similar visual problems, but to a lesser extent, are present in other games as well. Obviously, there are games where this is not an issue at all, but it is just so inconsistent compared to NVIDIA graphics cards and DLSS technology in general. I have the RTX 4070 Super in my main PC. That's what I use as my daily driver to play games at 4K resolution, and I must say that DLSS is much better. Furthermore, DLSS frame generation as well as upscaling can be found in all of the latest games consistently, unlike AMD's FSR. I've used the RX 7900 GRE to play games over the last 3 days, and one conclusion I can make is that I will not be using this graphics card to play games with AMD FSR enabled. I can recommend this graphics card to play games only at native resolution. And bizarrely, in cases where I wanted to use resolution upscaling, I actually preferred Intel's ZSS instead of AMD's FSR 3. So AMD, you really have to get on top of this resolution upscaling features thing. I think it is one of the most important features going forward, because once this graphics card begins to age, that's what you fall back on, resolution upscaling. To keep playing all of the latest games in 2025 and beyond with an acceptable level of performance, so 60 plus FPS at minimum. So the fact that AMD doesn't have a good quality resolution upscaler and that its frame generation is not being implemented in all of the latest games is concerning. Let's start our demonstration with Hellblade 2. And this is the best looking game I've seen to date. It utilizes all of the latest Unreal Engine 5 features like Nanite and Lumen, which makes it pretty graphically demanding. We're using 1440p native resolution and graphics are set to the absolute maximum, which is high preset. In terms of power consumption, this graphics card consumes between 280 to 300 watts. And in terms of video memory, I've seen this game utilize anywhere between 8 to 9.5 gigabytes. And Ryzen 5 7600XE is the perfect pair for this graphics card because it can load the GPU to 100% in most scenarios, no issues. But that is true only for AAA games I haven't tested any of the esports competitive titles using very low settings to maximize FPS. Bear in mind that ray tracing is currently enabled as part of that high graphics preset. And check this out. This graphics card is actually doing quite well. We are staying above 50 FPS for the most part. However, throughout my playthrough, I did see FPS drop below 50 to something like 45, 43 from time to time, especially when there's a lot of ray tracing related stuff going on. But for this type of game, I felt like it was fine. However, in the future, if there will be shooters that are as demanding as this game right here, it is definitely not going to cut it. Oh, there we go, 45 FPS as I promised, 46 now. So now you see that the FPS can drop below 50 and by quite a bit. And this highlights the importance of resolution upscalers. So if AMD's FSR worked really well and didn't have any of the image quality issues, then let's have a look, like what would have been possible. I'm setting it to quality mode and check it out. It would have been beautiful. Over 60 FPS in this scene where we had 45, 44 FPS. Yeah, if only the image quality was better, we could have enjoyed a much more pleasant experience. And there will come time when there will be games that do require you to lower the settings or use upscalers to achieve a playable FPS, even like 50 plus FPS. You will have to use upscalers to do that with this graphics card, I think in 2025 at the earliest. Let's turn off AMD's FSR. There's another way to improve performance. That is by lowering graphics presets, and this game looks incredible even on medium graphics preset. Hell, even low graphics preset looks amazing in this game. Better than very high in some games. And the performance is now 60 plus consistently. So yeah, there's always a way to improve performance even without using upscalers. However, is it really that good if we're talking about a $550 GPU, especially from AMD? Yeah, I don't know about that. I'll have to compare this graphics card with the RTX 4070 Super that I currently have in my main PC. So if you're looking forward to that comparison, then make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss that video. Ghost of Tsushima represents games that are less graphically demanding and run really well on most PC hardware. We are at 1440p native resolution, so no upscaling, no frame generation, and we are using very high graphics preset, and field of view is increased to the maximum. And the performance is absolutely beautiful, 90 plus FPS. Without help of upscalers or frame generation, you can have a brilliant time in this game by locking it at 90 FPS and enjoying all the action. And this is another game where the Ryzen 5 7600X is a brilliant pair to the 7900 GRE. This is a CPU intensive area of the game because there's lots of NPCs here, and sometimes we get above 50% CPU load. The GPU stays fully loaded, and that's what matters the most. At certain times, memory utilization increases to 10 GB, and power consumption is between 280 to 300 watts. Now let's try AMD's frame generation. Let's hit apply and see what kind of performance we'll get. Let me just refresh that FPS counter. Oh yes, from 90 plus to 150 plus FPS. Well, 140, 148, 147. Yeah, this is still a lot of frames. So you can easily lock FPS at 120 and enjoy the game that way. However, I do not recommend using AMD's FSR upscaling in this game. I don't like image quality FSR upscaling delivers in this game. I don't know, maybe it's just me spoiled by NVIDIA's DLSS, but I prefer to leave that FSR upscaler off. If I were playing this game using this graphics card, I would use these settings. Just lock the FPS at 120 and set the graphics preset to very high, AMD's FSR 3 frame generation enabled. Just don't use AMD's FSR upscaling. And you'll get a brilliant 120 FPS experience, very smooth and pleasant. And the GPU is loaded to about 80+%, so there's a lot of headroom left. If you're going to encounter any GPU demanding areas, you know that you have about 20% of the GPU compute power left to take care of those situations. Alternatively, lock FPS at 90 and turn off frame generation. So this is native resolution, no upscaling, very high graphics preset, beautiful 90 FPS experience. But be prepared that in certain areas the FPS will drop below 90, however the gameplay still feels very smooth. If you want the best image quality at 1440p, then this is the way to go, because frame generation still degrades the picture quite a bit. When you're panning in-game camera, frame generation doesn't do very well. Native resolution, on the other hand, without frame generation, looks beautiful. Horizon Forbidden West is yet another beautiful new game. And at 1440p resolution, native, no upscaling, no frame generation, on very high preset, it works quite well on the RX 7900 GRE. Well above 60 FPS, very nice. However, I'd like to point out that despite the fact that this is a 2024 game that is only a couple of months old, it doesn't have FSR 3 and it doesn't have frame generation. It has NVIDIA's DLSS frame generation that you can use with NVIDIA's cards, but AMD cards, nope, you're out of luck. And this is a common theme across many other games as well. I think that we should not keep our hopes up that AMD's frame generation will be implemented in more games in the future, because FSR 3 has been out for a long time now, and new games still launch without it. This is one of the more graphically demanding areas of the game, so let's see what kind of performance we can get. The FPS drops to around 70. So yeah, it is still good. There will be more demanding areas in the game. That just shows that it will be fine. This graphics card will be fine at 1440p native, delivering consistent 60+ FPS experience. And this game uses a lot more of the CPU. Sometimes it goes up to 80% and above. But still, the Ryzen 5 7600X does pretty well. As you can see, the FPS is nice and consistent. And memory consumption is at 10.6 gigabytes in this particular area, with a lot of assets, a lot of NPCs and buildings. Usually this place destroys 8 gigabyte graphics cards, because have a look at that. We are now using 11 gigabytes of memory. In conclusion, who is this graphics card for? Well, if you hate upscalers and frame generation technologies, then this graphics card is perfect for you if you want to play your games exclusively at native 1440p resolution. The RX 7900 GRE delivers a nice, smooth gaming experience comparable to NVIDIA alternatives. However, if you do want to use resolution upscalers, it is best to go for an NVIDIA alternative, like the RTX 4070 Super, for example. Personally, I think that resolution upscalers are very important for the future if you are going to play your games over the next couple of years. If you're interested in this specific Gigabyte Gaming OC model, then I must say that considering its size, I am quite disappointed with its noise levels. It is not super noisy, but it's a big graphics card and I expected much better from it. But let me know, what do you think about the RX 7900 GRE? Do you like it? Let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, then check them out at my Amazon links in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more if you haven't already. It was I, Vadim. Until next time.